Hello artists! Today we're going to be checking out Fauvism and using bright and wild colors to design our own landscape picture, but adding those crazy wild colors to make it Fauvism style. Alright, to get started with our Fauvism style landscapes, I'm having all students think about a place that's near them that they are familiar with, that they would be able to draw. Every city has some pretty famous buildings and places to go. It might be your favorite place to eat or your favorite place to shop or something interesting downtown or maybe a farm or a landscape that's kind of out away from the city. I'm going to be drawing a building. Well, it's a memorial. It's called the Rosedale Arch Memorial. So that's what I've decided to do, but we're going to be drawing with Fauvism. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and draw whatever building you're choosing. So like I said, I'm going to be doing this archway, which is pretty neat, I think. And it has this big rounded arch in the middle, and it stands up on a hill overlooking our city. So I am just kind of drawing different rectangle shapes that I see. And then I see this rectangle comes up like this. And so whatever building you've chosen, or if it's out and it has just trees and hills, you're going to start drawing with your pencil just to get it started. Okay. I see there's a little square in the concrete here and a square in the concrete here. And it does not have to be perfect. Fauvism was pretty wild, and so our art can look a little wild when we're trying to do that same style. So I'm just adding these rectangle shapes. That's kind of what the arch looks like. It's like all this concrete and it goes up. And then around the front, there's this little gate and kind of a little patch of green grass here. And then there are some stairs over here that overlook out over the city. It kind of leads to this little area here where there is a flag. And then there's a little curve around here. So I'm just trying to look for those shapes and see what all I'm drawing here. I see I've got some trees back here. And they kind of go all the way back around here. And I'm just doing some little lumpy bumpies because I know when trees are really far away, you don't really see the whole tree shape. You might see a little bit of the trunk, but mostly you just see the kind of lumpy bumpy shape in the background. So I've got this memorial here. I said there's a little fence that kind of goes around here. So I am going to just kind of put that little fence. It kind of goes up here and you can see it go around. So there's that little fence. And my grass. All right, so I am ready to get my black marker and we're going to just outline everything. Something I notice in a lot of the Fauvism paintings that we looked at is when they were drawing, a lot of times there was some thick, bold, black outline and then just these bright, bright colors being used. So when I'm looking at the actual picture, I see a blue sky, I see green grass, I see gray concrete, gray. Not the most exciting of colors, but as an artist trying to do Fauvism, I know I'm about to get really wild with my colors. Okay, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and outline this pencil drawing with our black marker. If you don't have black, any bright kind of darker color will do. And you just want to go around all those edges. Once we've got this, then you're going to get out crayons or colored pencils. You could use some marker too. The only problem with marker is it can smear, and we're going to be using so much bright color. I would say to only probably do smaller areas with your markers. But we are just going to add so much bright, bright color. We looked at André Derain and his pictures, and as an artist, he really made some wild, wild colors where the sky was reds and oranges and yellows and pinks, and trees were not just green, they were green and purple and blue, and everything's kind of combined. So we're going to be trying to do that same thing. So right now I'm still just working on my outline. Now it's time for the fun part of this landscape picture. With Fauvism, they used explosive colors, pure, bright color, and then there's going to be very unique and unnatural color combinations. So if you think of a natural color for a tree, it would be green, right? So if I'm thinking of something unnatural, it might be taking this red violet and pushing that down into my tree and making my tree so, so bright. And then as I go along, perhaps I'll grab some orange and I'm going to push that. And I'm pushing pretty hard with my crayons because I want these bright, wild colors. It looks really neat when I put the orange over the red violet. It makes a really pretty color combination there. So we are just going to start coloring. And as we color, we are picking unnatural colors, bright colors. We're getting wild. It's really fun. Something else we notice is when they are painting in this style, the brushwork is kind of impulsive looking. It's like sketchy short strokes. So if you wanted to have that look on here, you might have some different chunks of one color to give it that brushstroke look and then put other chunks of color next to it. And those are some wild looking trees. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue these wild trees. And I'm going to try that kind of impulsive brush stroke. It looks almost like I dipped in paint and pushed right on the paper. So it doesn't have to be the most smooth coloring because that's part of Fauvism. It's just having kind of expression on your page. So it's our own impression of art instead of how it looks exactly. It's just a little bit more wild. So I can grab another color. Where's another bright color? Maybe I'll use some red. So you want to be switching colors often. I think that's a good key to this art that we're doing. If we're doing this Fauvism style, landscape, we can definitely just keep switching colors and keep adding more wild color to our picture. So I've got this red here, and I've kind of got it going all different directions. I'm going to grab some pink and work that in too. All right, so our trees definitely do not look traditional. Now, what else could I do? I could put some purple clouds up here. And then I can start thinking about adding color to my arch. Maybe I'll use some yellow and some orange. So I'm again just coloring in. And switching colors often. So if you did a certain building, you can be using any colors you want on that building, switching them up, and just really making the colors bright and wild. I like the way sometimes when you push two colors together with crayon, it kind of swirls together. And I think that's kind of a fun look for this as well. So the Fauvs believe that colors should be used to express your feelings about a subject. So this is just such like a fun, beautiful outlook place in Kansas City. And so I just feel really excited about it. So I feel like I'm using these really exciting colors in my art. Ooh, pushed a little too hard with that crayon. Okay. So you can just keep switching colors, finding other colors that work. I think I'm going to try this color on the top of the building. So now I get to make the decision of what color I would like the grass. I think I'm going to do the grass maybe with bright, maybe some blue. You can always layer colors, put other colors on top of your first color and see what that looks like. Just really experimenting with color and being bright and bold with color. I might add some green on here, like a little shadow of green. So you're just going to continue picking out different colors you'd like to use, lots of bright color, and adding it in. So I'm just continuing to add this bright color. And I just love the way that almost looks like those kind of wild brush strokes, where I put the crayon in a kind of a chunky way instead of a smooth coloring. All right. What other colors? Maybe I'll use a little bit of brown just to set things off. And then I want to grab something bright because I want this to have that bright Fauvism look. So I think I'll get my blue violet. Okay. So we can do some of these kind of wild lines. And just any colors you'd like to put into your picture, you can, because this is supposed to look just really bright and really wild. Now, what will I do with this sky? I am thinking maybe some yellow with green. Let's see what that starts to look like. I feel like with these, the more wild color, the better. So I can add a little bit of that color, and then I can just put a little of this on top. This is looking so cool. It's so bright and wild. So I'm just putting a little bit of that yellow around, and then I'll keep adding some little pieces of green to the sky. And then I'm just thinking of other colors I can add also. Just looking through my crayons and trying to find what other colors might look great with what I've got happening now. Maybe this red-orange. I am liking that. That looks great. So as you are coloring your grass, it can be any color, your trees, your sky, your clouds. So it's not a realistic picture at all, even though you can see the realistic shapes of your landscape, the building, the trees, the fence. The colors are what really make it different. And then once you have your building, or your trees, your lake, or whatever it is you chose to draw, once you have this all colored in with different wild colors, then you will be finished with your Fauvism style landscape. I love the way this is turning out. It's just so bright and crazy wild. I might put a few more patches so you can just go back and you can layer color. I just saw in the Fauvis painting, so oftentimes there's just some kind of wild color just kind of smooshed in over the top, and you can see thick colors. Apparently, some of the artists would even have the paint so thick they would just take their tube of paint. Think about it like a tube of toothpaste, but just with paint, and they'd squirt it right onto the painting. So it would be really, really thick, heavy, heavy color. And so to get that effect with our crayons or colored pencils, I feel like just adding extra layers really helps. All right. And at this time, I think I've added all the bright color I need. I can see the sky in the background, the trees that are growing along, this grassy area with the Rosedale Memorial Arch, my flagpole, and my concrete, but everything is just so different and vivid and wild. And I can totally see why the Fauvist artists call themselves the wild beasts. I cannot wait to see what you create.